Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're taking a trip to one of the most wonderful and definitely one of the wackiest worlds ever written. So get ready for an adventure that's, well, curiouser and curiouser.
Okay, so let's start with a question for you. Have you ever heard a rule that made absolutely no sense? You know, when a grown-up tells you to do something and you ask why, and they just say, "Because I said so." It's so confusing, right? Well, if that's ever happened to you, you're not alone. Our hero today knows exactly how that feels.
All right, let's dive right in. Down the rabbit hole we go to meet our hero, Alice. So, the book we're talking about is the one and only Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, and it was written by the super creative Lewis Carroll. I mean, he invented a world that we're still exploring over 150 years later. How cool is that?
So, it all starts with this girl, Alice. She's kind of bored, just hanging out, but then her day gets a huge shakeup when she spots a white rabbit with a pocket watch. She follows him and ends up tumbling down a rabbit hole into this magical, completely mixed up place called Wonderland.
All right, so let's get to the big Wonderland idea. This story is packed with silly characters and hilarious moments, but there's a secret message hidden inside all that fun. So, what is it? Okay, here it is. The big secret is that Wonderland shows us it's actually really brave and super important to ask why, especially when the rules don't make any sense at all. Alice figures out that using her own brain, thinking for herself, is a genuine superpower. And here's a perfect example of Wonderland's nonsense in action. You've got the Queen of Hearts just shouting off with their heads for pretty much any reason she can think of. It's totally unfair, but Alice, she sees right through it. She realizes the Queen is just a big bully with silly rules, and you know what? She's not afraid to call her out on it. And then you have this kind of nonsense. At the Mad Hatter's tea party, it's always tea time. Always. Time is stuck, the riddles have no answers, everything is just completely backwards. Here, Alice learns a different lesson. Sometimes, when things are just plain goofy, it's okay to just laugh at how silly it all is.
So, what can Alice teach us? Well, her journey is packed with 4 super skills for your brain.
Okay, check these out. First up, ask good questions. Seriously, it's totally fine to politely ask why. Next, you've got to trust your feelings. If a rule feels wrong or unfair, there's a good chance it is. The third one is huge. Be curious, not scared. When things get confusing, try to get interested instead of getting worried. And finally, number 4, stand up for what's right, even if you're standing up to someone who seems really powerful.
All right, time for some fun activities. Now it's your turn to explore.
Ready for your missions? Okay, mission number 1 is the why game. Just try politely asking for the reason behind a rule you're given. Mission 2, create your own Wonderland. Grab some paper and draw or write about a world where you make the rules. What would they be like? And mission number 3, become an authority detective. Your job is to find one rule that makes total sense and one that seems a little bit silly, and then just talk about the difference.
Want to keep the adventure going? We've got more books for you and some notes for the grown-ups too.
Okay, so if you love this, you are definitely going to want to check out Matilda by Roald Dahl. It's all about a super smart girl who stands up to some really mean grown-ups. And another fantastic one is The Phantom Tollbooth by Norton Juster. It's this incredible adventure about a boy who learns to think for himself and question all the silly rules around him. You've got to read it. And hey, for all the parents and teachers out there, a few ideas to keep the conversation going. Ask your kids, so what would you do if you met the Queen of Hearts? It's a really good way to talk about the difference between important rules, like for safety, and just plain silly rules. And most important of all, always celebrate their curiosity and their questions. So we're going to leave you with one last thing to think about. After seeing just how messy and silly the rules in Wonderland are, if you could make one brand new, sensible rule for the entire world, what would it be? Really think about it, because your ideas matter. And that's a wrap on this book explainer. If you had fun and want to dive into more incredible stories with us, please make sure you follow and subscribe. Thanks so much for hanging out with us.